further. Ordering a set of fractions involves putting them from smallest to largest, and sometimes this can be shown in a question that asks for increasing size, or sometimes a question will ask for you to place numbers or fractions in ascending order, which is easier to remember if you think of an aeroplane which ascends as it enters the clouds at the beginning of a flight. So let's look at some of the ones that we've done already. We looked at sevenths, as I'm now starting to draw on the screen, and we had 2/7. So that would look like this diagram shown here. Then let's look at another one that we've examined in this clip, which was cut up into tenths as shown, and we had 4/10 if you remember as one of our examples, so I'd colour in 4. And let's look at another one, which was our example with fifths. So we'll cut up into 5, and we had 3/5 on that example, so we'd colour in 3. And we also had an example with quarters as shown, and it was a 3/4 example, so we'd colour in 3. Here I've deliberately already put them in smallest to largest order, and you can see how clearly it can be shown visually that clearly the top fraction is the smallest and the bottom fraction is the largest. So to write these in order as asked in a test question, smallest to largest, increasing in size or in ascending order, we would simply write 2/7, we can use commas, 4/10, then 3/5, then 3/4. This is the common way to present an answer, and often you will be asked to put a set of usually 5 numbers in order, is quite common. Okay, now let's look at one last thing that we need to know, and that is the reverse order. So sometimes we're asked to put our fractions from greatest to smallest, or decreasing in size, which means they're shrinking compared to the ones that come before it, or in descending order. So remembering an aeroplane will descend before it lands. So starting from the largest going to the smallest. So I've deliberately changed the wording on the first one here to greatest instead of using the word largest, because this is commonly used in tests and activities, and it's just another word for biggest. So very simple. Looking at the answers we've just done, the biggest one was 3/4. So we'd put that first using our commas, then 3/5, then 4/10 was smaller again, and then the smallest one we have out of these 4 examples is 2/7. And you'd notice it's the exact opposite order as above. Just be aware this is a very common mistake that's made, where students do all the hard work, get them in the correct order, and then write them in the reverse order because they've misread and assumed they wanted it smallest to largest instead of putting them largest to smallest, or vice versa. And another thing to note, just looking at these fractions in their list order, we can see if we look at the denominators, which are the fraction names or numbers at the bottom, the size of them does not give us any clue as to which are bigger than smallest. So if we look along the top, we can see smallest to largest, we have a denominator of 7, then of 10, then of 5, then of 4. So they are not going in any increasing or decreasing order because it depends how many pieces you have. And similar, if we look at the numerators or the numbers on the top, we have no way of knowing from them either because we had 2, and then we had 4, and then we have 3, and then 3. So again, a common mistake students often make, or when they're finding it tricky, they'll have a guess, and they'll just try to put the numbers on the page in order instead of the fraction shapes in order.